Hi guys, I'm here to very quickly bring you my June wrap up, and I'm going to try to keep it shorter than my last few videos have been. They've been in the double digits. Going to try my best to keep this one in the single digits because it's just easier for y'all to watch and a lot easier for me to edit as well, so everybody wins with shorter videos. So let's just jump right into it. In the month of June, I read 4 novels, 1 graphic novel, and 2 short stories. And it was a pretty good reading month for me. I really enjoyed most of the things that I read. And the first novel that I read this month was P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han, which is the sequel to All the Boys I've Loved Before, which came out last year and a lot of people read. It was very popular on BookTube, and I loved this book. I very much enjoyed it. It's a great YA contemporary series. If that's your thing, I would definitely recommend this. It's one of the best I've ever read, I would say. I would put Jenny Han right up there with Sarah Dessen as far as my favorite YA contemporary authors. She really knows what she's doing. And what I really loved most about this, and about the other book as well, is that Jenny Han does not make it all about the romance. I mean, obviously with the title you can tell that romance is a significant part of the book, but it's not the only significant part by any means, and she puts just as much emphasis on the family dynamics with Lara Jean, the main character, and her sisters and her dad, and I just really enjoyed that, and I think it's something that's all too rare in YA contemporary reads sometimes, so I definitely really enjoyed that aspect of it. This duology is just adorable. I love Lara Jean. I can definitely relate to her. I will say that this book didn't exactly end the way that I was hoping for it to, but I'm trying to make my peace with that and come to terms with it, but I was hoping for a slightly different ending, but that didn't detract from my overall enjoyment of the book too much. So I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, and I would definitely recommend this duology if it sounds interesting to you. The next thing that I read was the 5th book in the Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place series, which is the Unmap See, and this series is by Mary Rose Wood. This is one of my favorite middle grade series. I absolutely love it. I'm so sad that there's only 1 book left, but I am excited to find out the answers to the mysteries that we've been really picking up clues about all throughout this series. One of the little blurbs on the back describes it as a mix between Jane Eyre and Lemony Snicket, and I can definitely see where they're coming from with that, and I think it's a really good description of this series. It's very witty, very playful, the characters are awesome, and it's definitely a series that is enjoyable to older readers as well as younger readers. This was a great installment to the series. I think I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, so very excited to pick up the last book in the series when it comes out next year. Next thing I read is something I'm sure you heard about in a variety of videos lately, and for very good reason, and that is The Grace Keepers by Kirsty Logan, this beautiful UK hardcover edition that I'm just absolutely in love with, as is everyone else. And I must say that the insides of this book, having read it now, I can definitely testify that the insides of this book, the actual story, matches the beauty of the outside of the book. And this story is just beautiful and haunting and ethereal and magical, and just it's so wonderful. This book follows North, who travels on a circus boat and has a pet bear that she dances with every night during the performances. It also follows Callanish, who is a grace keeper, who is a person who handles the deaths of those who have died at sea. And this takes place in a post-apocalyptic type world where the world has been flooded and most of the land is now covered in water. The population has been divided into 2 different types of people: damplings, who travel around in boats, and the landlockers, who of course live on land. The story just follows North and Callanish and the way that their paths cross, and it's just a beautiful story, and I would definitely recommend it. It's definitely worth the hype. Last novel that I read this month was a reread for me, and I think a lot of people have been rereading this lately, and it is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. There's not much I really need to say about this. I think everyone pretty much knows what it's about. It follows the story of Scout Finch. She narrates the book as she is older, looking back on her childhood and this one particular summer in her life where her father, Atticus, who is a lawyer, is assigned the case of Tom Robinson, a black man who has been accused of raping a white girl, and how this affects the residents of their small town in Alabama, and particularly Scout and her family, her brother and her father. This is just an American classic for a reason. It's amazing. Absolutely loved it. I recently watched one of Chauncey Boddington's videos where she was talking about how she's been rereading it, and how before she started rereading it, she couldn't really remember a lot of the specific events. But as she was reading it, they were coming back to her so vividly, and she was remembering absolutely everything. And I can definitely relate to that. I remembered the overarching storyline, of course, but I was fuzzy on the details. But as I started reading it, it just all came back to me, and it was just amazing to reread this. And a lot more impactful this time, I think, because I read it for the first time quite a few years ago, and I don't think I fully was able to understand the impact of this book and just everything that it stands for and everything that it means. And so I was really glad to get to reread it and understand more fully the profoundness of this novel. So definitely enjoyed that. 5 out of 5 stars always. I read was one of the Penguin Little Black Classics, and this is number 39, The Old Nurse's Story by Elizabeth Gaskell. This includes 2 stories by, and I'll just read you the blurb on the back really fast. It says, "A ghostly child roams the Northumberland moors while fairy tale characters gather at a strange party in these 2 Victorian Gothic tales." I really enjoyed this. I've always had a feeling that I would like Elizabeth Gaskell's writing. A lot of her novels sound very interesting to me, so I decided to start with I would give this a chance, and I really enjoyed it. Very excited to pick up some more of her work, and hopefully in the near future. I actually own Cranford, so that'll probably be the one that I read next, and hopefully I can get to that very soon. Definitely enjoyed this. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Last thing that I read this month was a graphic novel, and that was The Adventuress by Audrey Niffenegger, who you might know as the author of The Time Traveler's Wife. I enjoyed this pretty well. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. The art and the writing in this are both very simple. It's kind of a thick book, but the writing is so sparse in it that you can get through it pretty fast. And like I said, both the writing and the art in this is pretty simple, but it was definitely a very interesting, very surreal story. Let me just give you a glimpse of what the art is like inside. There's another one. And yeah, it's definitely a very odd, strange story. Definitely enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to picking up more of Audrey Niffenegger's graphic novels in the future. Alright, so that is everything that I read in the month of June. I can't believe that June is already over. I don't know where the time has gone. Let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them, or if you plan on picking any of them up anytime soon. Just let me know any thoughts or random musings you have in the comments. I love talking to y'all. Thanks for watching. Bye.